organic technology is getting better and better.
Sure. So there's blossoms and all.
That's inside the cherry.
Yeah, so these are the seeds. Obviously these will be fermented and dried and the parchments will be removed, and then that's what we end up getting to roast, which is amazing. You got to taste one, Katie.
Yes, please.
Can I get one for you?
Honey or a fully washing it with a mechanical washer there to want to make a fully washed, or just separating floaters in the case of the naturals. So we separate the floaters there. I will show you all that process with some coffee when we turn when we have electricity again.
Yeah.
But basically is that then we bring the coffees to fermentate, the ones we want to do the fermentations. Over there we have the forest shade anaerobic.
Okay. Wow.
And so the fermentation happens, it's very controlled. We can live more days. My love for coffee were the ones that my great grandfather bought. It was a little bit closer to Central Valley. It's the same in the slopes of Poas volcano. They were a little bit lower altitude. They started at 1,200 meters above sea level, and they went up to 1,500 meters. This one starts at 1,500 meters and goes up. We're going to go up to 1,900 meters above sea level. So those are the new places where we are going to plant a coffee. But yeah, though after then in the late 90s, my grandfather sold those farms, and then we started again this project. And these farms are they always belonged to my father, but we didn't have the mill. So we constructed again the mill, but this time focused on microlots. The other mill, they were bigger plantations, but it was only fully washed. Two varieties, Caturra, Catuai, everything going to a big silo. It was of course, specialty coffee has developed, so it's not the same what we have to do of what it was 30, 40 years ago. That was supposed to be the highest quality. Really sweet, and it has for me like papaya melon flavor.
Wow, that is so interesting.
So that's why we make anaerobics, to try to use all this flavor into the coffee.
It's like you don't need, these inoculated infused coffees. You don't need that. Everything's here. It's on the tree. Wow, these are beautiful. Do you want to try and get a close-up of these cherries? Also for context of size.
Yeah.
How cool is that, hey? So I'm gonna try one. Tastes unreal. Tastes absolutely amazing. It's like Alejo was just saying, like,
you have to try them.
Papaya. Yeah, you have to try them. You got to come and visit.
Wow. So that's inside the cherry.
Yeah, so these are the seeds. Obviously these will be fermented and dried, and the parchments will be removed, and then that's what we end up getting to roast, which is amazing. You got to taste one. Can I get one for you?
space, but also the organic technology is getting better.
Sure.
So we're doing a lot of research with organic new technologies, new fertilizers, even some fungicides. With fungicides, it's a little bit more difficult to control some of the fungus diseases we have here.
Okay.
With the organic ones, but they should get better. So our idea right now is just to start using less and less agrochemicals. It's a process. If you have given to your trees chemical fertilizer or for many years, and you stop using them, the tree will resent that.
Okay.
So our idea is slowly using more and more organic fertilizers. In the new plantations we will go right now, we don't use herbicides.
Okay.
So we have grass covering the soil. That also helps us to avoid erosion. So we won't lose the nutrients as easy as we used to with the rains. And it also will allow, that also helps us with insects that eat the roots of the coffee trees. Because if they have other the roots of the grass or other weeds, the insects have other roots to eat, and they not only selecting the coffee roots.
Okay.
So having that will help us to be more sustainable.
It's really interesting. So it holds pretty stable at -20.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you did yesterday?
Well, yesterday was pretty incredible. So we're at Volcan Azul in Costa Rica visiting Alejo, and yeah, we've been buying coffee from Volcan Azul pretty much since the beginning of Bluebird. When my little girl Lily was born, I wanted to celebrate with our customers. We were a very small business at that time, and I wanted to celebrate by releasing something special, and we actually released our first geisha. It was from Alejo. It was at that time kind enough to send us a very small box of coffee by air, and yeah, everyone loved it, and we've been buying from Alejo ever since. So it's been a dream to visit the farm. We've been here for a couple of days now, and today we're going to be coupling through a few coffees, visiting the higher parts of the farm, which goes from 1500 to 1900 meters in altitude, and we're going to take a tour of the dry mill and the wet mill. We'll show you around. And at the moment, Alejo is busy preparing some coffee for us behind you, which is going to be really cool. So you were saying yesterday that if you had to drink one coffee forever from your farm, it would probably be?
I have between the geisha and the SO28. I would choose one of them. I don't know. It's a difficult question. I also like our natural Caturra, but and many of the other varieties.
Absolutely.
The typicas are nice too, so can choose 4 at least.
4 at least. There we go. At least all from the same farm, so that's fine. And do you have a favorite processing method?
Well, yesterday we were at the plantation and we tried the mucilage of the cherries, and for me that flavor is so nice that what I want to translate that into the cup, and I find that the best way to do that is to process it as an aerobic, so and not washing that mucilage during the process, and have some fermentation with all the mucilage, and trying to translate that amazing flavor to the cup.
Yeah, those cherries tasted unbelievable. I must confess, when we went for a run through the plantation this morning, we actually ate a few cherries on the way.
You were stealing cherries.
We were stealing cherries along the way, yeah.
Yeah, I think down there you tried Caturra, or no, I think it was Bilasarchi if you found ripe cherries.
Okay.
Or was it where they were picking coffee?
It was most of the cherries had been picked. There were just a few left on the tree.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it might have been Katura, just based on what I remember from the tour yesterday. And yeah, the fruit was a bit more spicy than the geisha, which was interesting.
Also, that's the final pick, so it's not it's not the sweetest cherries from that particular lot. The last pick was sweeter than that, so
Okay.
you got a little bit late to that plantation.
Yeah, late arrivals. So Alejo recently purchased an Ikawa. It's actually the 100 gram roaster. We've got the 50 gram. And in the past, the samples that he will be roasting on the farm were roasted on a more traditional drum sample roaster in the background over there. But the Ikawa is fantastic because it allows you to really play with your profiles, and there's repeatability as well. And as you were explaining earlier, you've got lots of customers who roast on Ikawa.
Yeah.
So when they come to your farm, they can actually roast some of their own coffees according to their profiles and taste the coffees here as they would back at home. So I know that Patrick Rolf's going to be visiting you next week, and he's going to be doing some work with you on the Ikawa.
I still need I need to learn a lot about the Ikawa, but for me I think it's interesting that we can share profiles together.
Absolutely.
And that I can, maybe you can tell me what's the best way to try our coffees based on your experience.
Absolutely. And what are we roasting?
So this is a typical Volcan Azul. I have never tried this coffee from this harvest, of course. So it's one of the coffees we're about to come. See how it goes.
It's improving as it cools down.
But we had some overripe cherries because we left the cherries for longer on the tree to have a higher bricks content.
Okay.
So we had some cherries that were really ripe and some a little bit overripe, already getting drier. So at the beginning we did a dry fermentation.
Okay.
Then after.
Is that like a natural on the patio?
No, it's just inside the tanks.
Okay.
But after a few days, we added water to the fermentation because we wanted to stabilize the humidity in all the beans.
Okay.
So they will all be wet, and when we start the drying process, they will have the same humidity. Because we had different, some of them they were drier, some of the cherries.
That's really interesting.
That's why I did that, to try to make it more homogeneous, the humidity of all the beans.
And was that a warm anaerobic or in the shade?
Warm anaerobic.
Okay. That's really interesting. And how long were they in the tanks?
So dry was like 5 days, and then a couple of days with water.
And you said yesterday, if I remember correctly, that the peak temperature is around 25 degrees?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Inside those are in direct contact with sunlight, so yeah, they get a little bit warmer than our forest shade anaerobic.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I've tasted a few warm anaerobics so far from Volcan Azul, and this is really clean.
Yeah, I think it's a really controlled process because inside the tanks with the lack of oxygen, you don't get high temperatures. And here at the farm, during the harvest season, we don't have very high temperatures. The highest, well, now it's a little bit warmer because we are approaching March. We're now in the middle of March.
Okay.
So, but in January, December, during the night it goes down to 10 degrees Celsius, and during the day it's maximum 22 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
That's why we don't have high temperatures inside the tanks.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. So everything just happens a little bit more slowly at lower temperatures.
Yes.
More controlled.
What?
Yeah. I would love to taste.
Those machines on the second floor, and then so this is a fan elevator. So the big bags, we hang them up there. We take off the coffee here, and then it will go up. We will take off parchment or pulp in the case of naturals. These machines over here, they will clean up any parchment or pulp that was left with the coffee. This one will sort it by size. We're cleaning it to start this process.
So this is the screen size.
Yes.
What size will this be?
This will be a 20.
20. So anything bigger than that gets called out.
Yeah. And then we have a 15 below, or the smaller ones. And after this, we'll go to the decimetric machine. Which basically heavy coffee will go that way. Here we will have the lower density that will be separated, so that will be a lower quality coffee. This one in the middle will go to the other one, where we can still take some first quality coffee and then do another separation over there.
Wow. And that's all on density.
Yes.
That's what makes it density.
This is very important for you. The density is that when you're roasting coffees,
Absolutely.
and they are homogeneous, it's easy for you to roast. If they're not, you will over roast part of the coffees and undercook the other half of the coffee. So,
and you were explaining that each of these bags has got a code and it's all different lots, so different pickings from different days.
you can see it here. Well, just to finish this with the process, here we have the color sorter. Basically, we can take out any black beans or any defects that the camera can see. It will be taken out, and then we have the coffees ready to be packed to be exported.
Amazing.
In the big bags, yeah, all of them, they have their own code. So we know exactly what coffee is this. So with that code, well, let me see what we have there. So this is a San Isidro anaerobic.
San Isidro anaerobic, okay.
And with this I know that it was in the tanks between the number 1 and to the 6 in the forest shade. So we have full traceability, the drying time and all the time it's spent in the fermentation tanks. So when you are asking me for the information of the coffees, I have full traceability of every single one of them.
Amazing. So this will be whole cherry, dry cherry.
It's whole cherry. Yes. It was a natural.
Pre-milling.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we're standing on the slopes of the Poas volcano. Am I saying it correctly?
Yes. Poas.
Yeah. Okay. With Alejo, who, if you guys don't know, is a 6th generation coffee farmer. And I'm definitely going to ask you a bit about the family history just now. But this is my first visit to this incredible farm. And it's amazing. You can read and research about a certain place or process. And you never really understand it until you experience it in person, and it's been an eye-opening experience for me over the last 2 days, so thanks for having us.
I am really glad to finally meet you in person, and I hope you have enjoyed your visit to Volcan Azul.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So for all of our customers and our friends around the world, there's so much interest around Volcan Azul and the coffees you produce. I know that in South Africa we have a very strong following of people waiting every year for the latest releases from Volcan Azul. But there's a lot more to the story than just the quality of the cup. Your family have obviously been farming and producing coffee for a long time. Where did it all start for you guys?
Well, it started over 180 years ago, the production and the export of the coffee in our family. So the first Alejo started in San Jose to produce and export directly to England in the 1840s. So yeah, that's from the side of my father, and from the side of my mother, they started in the 1890s. So it's also an old tradition, over 130 years, producing and exporting coffees. They came from Germany, so they used to export directly to Germany. They started in Chiapas in the south of Mexico, and then in the 50s they came also to Costa Rica to buy coffee farms.
Amazing.
We also found out that before farming, we used to trade coffee since 1801. So because one of my great grandfathers. He used to own a sail ship, and he was French. So this is from the side of my father, and he used to trade coffee from Haiti, which was a French colony, and so we found that a few years ago.
Amazing.
Now we know that we have been trading coffee for over 220 years.
That's incredible legacy. Yeah, we're almost 5 years in the coffee business.
You have to start someday.
You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. Absolutely. So we're standing at a very high point of the farm. There's no coffee around us at the moment, but there's a plan to plant coffee up here. How new is this farm compared to the others in your family?
Well, we of course the first farms in the 1840s, they were in the middle of San Jose. The altitude was like 1,100 meters. Climate has changed a little bit, so they used to think that these higher land areas it was impossible to grow coffee.
Okay.
This used to be dairy farms, so we still have some pastures here. Remember, most of this farm is just conservation, so you can see the mountain behind us. That's part of the farm. From the 300 hectares, over 200 hectares, it's just conservation.
Wow.
But we still have these open areas that these are really old pastures that we still have here, and we're still going up to 1900 meters here at this farm. So this is the future of our that we are planting the new coffees here, and I believe that we are going to have an exceptional quality. Our higher score varieties are geishas and SL28 at this moment. We're not close to try other varieties in these higher altitudes. We know geishas, they like higher altitudes more than lower altitude, so they are more adapted to the higher grounds. So most of them will be geishas or SO28s for these areas here. We used to have only Caturra, some Catuai in our farms, but when we started with all the idea with the microlots and the reserve coffees, we needed to look for something new. And so I started first in 2011. We got our first geisha seeds. We didn't know what it was, and a few years after, in 2016, is when we had the first good harvest, and we started cupping that coffee. It was something that blew our minds.
Amazing.
And of course, after that, we started trying many different varieties. We have Java, we have Larina, we have Mocha, we have many hybrids, which are really good too.
And even some new species now.
Yes, well, we have Oginoides, we have Liberica.
Yeah.
So that will be at least interesting.
Yeah,
Don't know if
it's
it
gonna
will
be
be
great to
the
taste
highest
them.
score coffees. Well, maybe the Oginoides, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Liberica, but at least it will be interesting to cup. But again, I love drinking coffee, and I only get to drink my own coffees. Of course, I wouldn't be buying coffees every day for my personal use. So it will be very boring to me just to have one variety.
One variety. Where do you see Volcan Azul going in the future? I know you've got a strong focus on conservation and obviously cup quality and the reserve coffees. What are you most excited about?
So, well, of course, our family has a really old tradition. We're doing a big effort not to be the last generation producing coffees. We'll see if the new generations would like to enter this world. They won't be forced to do that, but I guess at least some of them they would like to join us. But in order to be sustainable, of course, we need to have the quality in the coffee. If not, people wouldn't buy our coffees, or at least we wouldn't be able to sell it at a price that will make it sustainable. Also about our conservation efforts, it's what we think that will make our production sustainable in the long term. At least in this farm, you can see the microclimate we have here. It's much colder. We have lower temperatures, and it's because we are surrounded by 200 hectares of forest. So even though we are in the middle of the dry season, during the night we have a mist coming down here, so that's perfect for coffee. You saw the plantations; they are still really green,
Absolutely.
even though we are almost at the end of dry season. So our efforts in conservation, not only this farm, it's also in this south of Pacific of Costa Rica in the Osa Peninsula, which is a very important place to have conservation, because in a really small area we have 2.5% of world biodiversity.
Incredible.
So you have a lot of animals, all kinds of animals, birds, insects, many types of plants, trees. We are on a path of using less and less agrochemicals every year. Of course, we still use some fertilizers and some fungicides, but we are still also trying to develop some other ways to use every year less and less agrochemicals.
And you can really feel it. Every aspect of even the mill, with the way that you reuse water and then eventually take that water and reuse it for irrigation. You can see the focuses on sustainability, which is beyond a trend at the moment. It's so important for the sustainability of business and for coffee in the future. So it's amazing. I've been blown away by how green everything is, and it's just such a beautiful part of the world. We definitely will be back.
Thank you very much.
Time again.
I hope you will enjoy this harvest.
Absolutely. We can't wait to make our selections and to bring a wider variety, a wider menu than ever to South Africa. So it's going to be great.
I need a good excuse to go and visit you in South Africa.
Oh man, I think, well, we would love to have you there, and I think that our customers would love to meet you as well.
It would be very nice.
Amazing. Thanks, Alejo. Awesome.
Yeah.
The very last of the ripe cherries in this geisha plantation, and this is an area of the farm where we have some very special geisha to release. I can't wait for that. And yeah, the fruit is incredibly sweet, so for me it's very like, you definitely get some berry sort of characteristics, and then Alejo was talking about melon, which I completely can find as well. And then for me there's a bit of like spicy bell pepper, which is quite prominent, but it's absolutely delicious. So you got the whole cherry, and then